In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the all-new X Plus Rival mini desktop AI computer. And basically what we've got here is a really powerful mini PC that's going to be able to do basically anything that you want. You can game on it at 1440p, you can throw AI workloads at it, and that's because this is powered by the AMD Ryzen AI MAX Plus 395. A few months ago, I mentioned that we're going to start seeing a lot of these mini PCs and laptops powered by this chip. Most of them are starting to hit the market now. And what we've got here is the new rival from X Plus. It's got a very interesting design. There is some RGB up front that we'll take a look at in just a bit. But when it comes down to it, it's still a very small desktop system when you compare it to a full-size tower PC. And inside of the box, obviously, you'll get the rival mini PC itself. It's got an adjustable aluminum stand. Also comes with a 6-foot HDMI cable and a 240-watt power supply. And the way this PC is designed, you can set it horizontally on the desk, but again, we've got that fully adjustable stand here, so it's just going to sit right in there. Not bad, and whenever a mini PC comes with a stand, I always kind of tend to use that stand, set it up vertically. I've always liked the look of it. When it comes to I/O up front here, we've got a full-size SD card reader, USB 4, and this does run at a 40 gig protocol, 2 full-size USB 3.2 ports, and a 3.5mm audio jack. Taking a look around back, 2 USB 2.0 ports, full-size HDMI 2.0, full-size DisplayPort, another 40 gig USB 4 port, one more full-size USB 3.2 port, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, and we've got another audio jack around back. Another thing this mini PC has up front is a performance mode switch. So on the fly, we've got 3 different modes to choose from. Mute mode, obviously it's going to be low power. Balance mode, probably 45-65 watts, and performance mode should take us all the way up. And I mentioned this does have a little bit of RGB up front with a few different modes. We've got a touch switch over here on the side, so we can swap that out on the fly also. Storage is going to be handled by a 2280 M.2 SSD, PCIe 4.0, and we've actually got 2 slots here. Out of the box, one is populated with the 2 terabyte drive, and we can add another 2 terabyte drive on the other side. So that's going to give us a total of 4 terabytes of storage with this PC. And of course, when it comes to the overall specs, like I mentioned, this is powered by the AMD Ryzen AI MAX Plus 395. We have 16 cores, 32 threads, all based on Zen 5, and this will boost up to 5.1 gigahertz. Radeon 8060S iGPU, 40 compute units. It's based on RDNA 3.5, and it does up to 2900 megahertz. This unit here comes with 96 gigs of RAM running at 8,000 megatransfers per second. And over on AMD's website with the AI Max Plus 395, I've only seen configurations from 32, 64 to 128. So this is definitely a bit different. And if this was the 128 gig model, from the BIOS, we'd be able to dedicate up to 96 gigs of RAM to the iGPU. So I think with this, we're only going to be able to go up to maybe 64. Not sure, but we will get into the BIOS in a second. We've also got those 2 2280 M.2 slots, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.2, and out of the box, it's running Windows 11. First thing I wanted to take a look at here was the BIOS to see what kind of settings we have. And from main, there's not much, but moving over to advanced, the best setting that we're going to be able to change here is going to be our power mode select. Out of the box, it was set to balanced. We're going to go to performance and we'll take a look at the TDP, what it's running at in performance mode. But keep in mind, this can also be swapped on the fly using that performance mode switch on the front of the PC. Auto power on, it'll come back on after you have a power failure. GFX configuration, we are specified to 32, but it only looks like we can do up to 48. Either way, I think 32 is more than enough for my use case scenario. Moving down, CPU configuration, no TDP control, but we do have our hardware monitor, and it does look like there's 3 fans in this system. So they're all set to auto, and we can go to manual if we want to, but I'm going to leave it just like this. Basically, the only thing I changed here was the power mode select to performance mode. Save, reset, we'll get right into Windows. Okay, so jumping right into it here, as you can see, we've got that Ryzen AI Max Plus 395, and this system has 96 gigs of RAM. It's the first time that I've seen just 96 gigs out of a system with this chipset, because over on AMD's website, it states either 32, 64, or 128. Guess it's a little way to save costs there. I think it's more than enough RAM for a mini PC. We've got 64 dedicated to system memory, and from the BIOS we saw we've got 32 dedicated to that iGPU, which is that 8060S. So as we saw, I went to performance mode in the BIOS, and from here we can actually see what kind of TDP this is running at. Just booting up, getting into everything, we went up to 81, but let's go ahead and stress this out, and right down here, 140, it's probably going to it's backing off. So it looks like we've got a sustained TDP on this thing of 120 watts. Not too bad. We could probably use a third-party app and take it to 140 across the board, but I'll have to check out temperatures and everything by the end of the video. But yeah, we had that maximum of 140 watts here. So knowing that, I can guarantee we're going to see some pretty decent performance out of this thing. And the first thing I wanted to do was run some benchmarks here. And the first one we have is Geekbench 6. It's coming in with some really strong single and multi-core scores. I haven't done any tweaking. We're just in performance mode. Single core, 2,981. Multi, little over 20,000. I mean, this is looking great. On par with some of the best mobile chips right now for gaming laptops on the market. I also ran Cinebench R24, and our single core is coming in with 110. This is not the highest score that I've seen out of this chip, but again, we haven't done any kind of configuration with this. We're just relying on that stock power profile. But multi-core is looking awesome here with a 1,831. So we are beating out that M1 Ultra and everything else on the list here with Cinebench R24. I also ran an OpenCL benchmark with Geekbench on that 8060 Si GPU. We scored a 99,200, and over on the right hand side, I just took some of the scores that they have over on their website. You can see at the very top there, we've got the RTX 5060 laptop GPU, which is a dedicated GPU, coming in with a 99,820. So we're not that far off from that newer dedicated GPU, but the craziest thing here is you got to keep in mind, these are integrated graphics that we have. I also ran 3D Mark Steel Nomad. Total score here, 2,194, and we got 21.95 FPS. And the final one we have is 3D Mark Time Spy with a total score of 11,261. Graphics score, 11,403. And this has beaten out most of the RTX 4060 laptop GPUs that we've been able to test over here on the channel. Now let's get into some real world gaming, and the first one we have is Oblivion Remastered. We're at 1440p high settings, and instead of using FSR with this game, even though we've got an AMD GPU, I like using XeSS. It looks a little better, and it does seem to give us a few more frames here, so that's set to balanced, and this game runs really well here. We're seeing an average of around 73 FPS. Here's Fallout 4, and I understand it's an older game, but it's still a lot of fun. And at 1440p Ultra on most iGPUs that I've ever tested, we do need to lock this down at 60. And if you take a look at Afterburner up in the top left-hand corner, this fluctuates anywhere between 64 FPS up to 144. If you've got your refresh rate set to 60, it's a smooth 60 across the board at Ultra settings. Had to put one fighting game in. We've got Mortal Kombat 1 at 1440p high with FSR set to quality. Looks great here, and we're at a steady 60 FPS with it. I knew we'd be able to run this game pretty well. And with something like this, with the settings we're using, we don't need to pull 120 watts. We're sitting close to 90 watts on average with this game at 1440p high settings. Fortnite, I always have people asking about it. I personally don't play it, but we're at 1440p epic, and we're using TAA, so we're at 100% resolution scale. Looks fine like this, and I was hoping it would lock at 120. For the most part, it's pretty close, but we do get a few dips here and there. And finally, Spider-Man 2, 1440p high with FSR set to balanced. We don't need frame gen here, and if you don't mind using it, you could enable it and see an average of around 130 FPS, actually a little over that. But with it set up like this, high settings, a little bit of FSR, we're seeing an average of 82 FPS with this game. The last thing I wanted to talk about here were CPU temps or APU temps because we've got an APU here. This is the GPU and CPU average temps across the board, and I was a little worried about this because after all, we are running this at a pretty high wattage for a mini PC. We're in performance mode, so up to 120 watts using the stock fan curve, and average 1440p gaming temps, 72. So I actually thought it'd be a bit higher than this, but the max recorded was up to 86. Still not quite thermal throttle. That was running Cinebench R24. We could probably get there, especially if this thing stayed boosted up to that 140 watt mark. But overall, with these stock fan curves, not too bad. So obviously, for a mini PC with only an iGPU, this thing is putting out some amazing performance, but it's not a cheap system. As we know, with these AMD Ryzen Ai MAX Plus 395 mini PCs, they can get on up there. And the X Plus rival is no different. For the price of something like this, or basically any other Max Plus 395 mini PC on the market right now, you can build a pretty powerful gaming PC. You could come close to this form factor using a low profile RTX 4060, or now we've got the low profile RTX 5060, but you're not going to get something this compact. Now, if you don't mind going bigger, you can blow this thing out of the water with an RTX 5070 or even a 5080 if the budget allows. But in the end, it's always going to be up to you. If you're looking for something like this thing does work out pretty well, and I'll have at least one more video coming up with this. I do want to test out SteamOS, so if that's something you're interested in seeing, let me know in the comments below. But that's going to wrap it up for our first look video. If you want to learn a little more about the X Plus rival, links for the official website are in the description. And like always, thanks for watching.